Hello and welcome, everyone. You are listening to The Success Palette, a place to discuss everything that you are not taught in school about how to be successful in the arts. I'm your host, Soda, and today we are going to talk about social audio, specifically with LinkedIn. We're going to do other platforms in the future, but I wanted to start out with LinkedIn because it is probably the one that's the most intimidating for a lot of us. And when we think of LinkedIn, we think of this scary kind of professional. That's not for us creatives, us artists. But my friend Mimi Langley here, she is a very creative person and was having some of those same thoughts. So Mimi, can you talk a little bit about some of your feelings of LinkedIn and how you're feeling now about it, specifically with the LinkedIn audio?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Soda. First of all, thank you for letting me on your podcast. I'm a fan girl, so I'm happy to be here. So I'm a LinkedIn audio coach. So that is social audio from LinkedIn's platform. And my feelings, oh gosh, it took me a while to get on there. I've been teaching social audio for over 3 years, and I just now started getting into LinkedIn audio in the fall of 2023. So it took me a little bit to head on over there because of the intimidation factor. I always thought of it just like a lot of people think of LinkedIn. You think corporate, very prim and proper. Like my personality, is it going to mesh well over there? Like I don't belong on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is if like you're trying to get a job or, you know what I mean? So, but it's come a long way. It really has. It's evolved so much. I mean, LinkedIn has been around since the early 2000s. It's been here for over 20 years and it's evolved. Like now it's, from my perspective, it's very creator friendly. So you see a whole bunch of different personalities on there, titles on there. There's entrepreneurs, there's coaches, there's artists, there's authors, there's, a variety of people. So I say jump in for sure.
And you're not the first person to tell me that. I've been hearing that a lot lately, but I'm still a little kind of confused about some of the ways that people like me and my audience, so we're mostly writers, artists, musicians, dancers. How can LinkedIn really benefit someone like us, especially with trying to make connections or trying to make a sale or anything like that?
Yeah. So, it really comes down to what your goal is. And you can have a different goal depending on what platform you choose to be on. And it might take you a little bit to figure out what the goal actually is for LinkedIn, right? That's what I'm saying. When you get on there, you gain clarity about how you can utilize this platform. So there could be a variety of reasons that LinkedIn can help you out. On LinkedIn, I mean, it is a huge networking platform. And what have we learned from building relationships with people? You just never know when an opportunity will present itself. That's the beautiful part about networking, right? It might not be that person that wants what you have to offer, but they certainly know 20, 25 people, 100 people who would love it. So that's the power. And LinkedIn, that's what it's built on. Everybody connects on there. Everybody talks. And I think about your audience a lot, Soda. And I was thinking, they even have LinkedIn groups. A lot of people are familiar with Facebook groups. They have LinkedIn groups. They have LinkedIn pages. You can be in those groups having conversations with people. If you have any problems with something, if you don't know how something works, people can answer your questions. I mean, there's a ton of ways you can utilize it.
So with LinkedIn groups, how is that similar or different than, like, let's say Facebook groups?
There's a lot of similarities. My biggest thing is I always tell people, I can obviously sit here and explain it, and I don't mind at all, but the best way to learn is literally by jumping in. Same thing with LinkedIn audio. I can teach it all day long, but until you actually get your feet wet, that's the best way to know, right? And experience it for yourself. So yeah, they're very similar. So if you're on Facebook and you're used to Facebook groups, I think that you'll adapt really well on LinkedIn with the LinkedIn groups.
And with the LinkedIn groups, are there a lot of lives or how does that work with social audio? Is it mostly radio?
Okay, so I come from the social audio side of things as far as my specialty, so I can touch definitely upon that. When you're going to be going on LinkedIn audio, it's going to be coming more than times than not through your personal profile. So it's not going to be through a group or a page. Although I believe pages, if you have a business page, you can do a LinkedIn audio event from a business page. I don't know about a group, but if you want to participate in social audio, more than likely it's going to be coming from your own personal profile on LinkedIn. So you can host one, or you can go into LinkedIn audio events from your personal profile. Yeah.
Okay. And then I know a lot of us were actually really shy and we're more visual people, especially as artists. We just want to show through pictures or poems or whatever. And it could be extremely intimidating to do the social audio aspect of it. What are some benefits of using that part of LinkedIn, the social audio part of it, and how has that helped you?
Oh, I love this. First of all, well, personally, it's helped me really find my voice. And I've worked with a lot of different personalities, a lot of different people in different fields, and a lot of introverts and people who are just, it is a form of public speaking and it is scary. So, but I will tell you, once you can master your speaking skills, because this is something that is needed in no matter what you're trying to do in life is speaking, right? And once you can hone in on that and practice, you're going to get better and better and better. Even if you're not trying to be better, the more you do it, the more you use your voice, you will get better at it. And that's going to help you in the long run, right? What if somebody invites you as an artist to an event? You're going to have to be speaking to people, talking to people. Might not be on a stage doing it, but you know what I mean? It's going to come out, that speaking muscle that you're building over and over again. But, hosting on social audio, it is scary, but you take control of it. Think of it also as like your own little show, right? You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. If there's a specific topic that you're really into and you want to hear other people's perspectives on it, start a LinkedIn audio event and see who shows up.
I agree. I remember my first time trying to use social audio. It was with Clubhouse, which I know you came from Clubhouse as well. And I was so terrified. Like, I started Clubhouse to find like a writers group, I believe. Someone pulled me over for that. And so, I made a couple connections with that, but I just remember being so scared every time. My voice would be shaky. Do you remember your first time doing some sort of social audio on any platform?
Oh, yes. I mean, it seems like I'm very bubbly and like this is something I was made to do, and I probably was made to do it, but I still get super duper nervous. Don't let anyone think that, don't think that these people that speak all the time are not nervous, because we still get those nerves. And yeah, I joined actually Clubhouse. I joined it not for business reasons. I joined it because I wanted to meet other moms. I was a new mom in the middle of the pandemic, and social audio was an answered prayer, right? Clubhouse was an answered prayer for me. So yeah, I do remember. I remember getting on Clubhouse, that they had back in the day, they used to have really large stages. And I remember even just trying to use my voice on someone else's stage because they were welcoming people. Come on up if you want to contribute. And normally I would be the one that would stay in the audience and just listen. But I had there was something that pushed me. I raised my hand and I got up there, and I remember I was shaking uncontrollably. But I'll tell you what helps. A little tip, a little ninja secret. Write down what you want to say. I don't know if you do this, Soda, but even when I'm on someone else's stage, I still write down what I want to say. And that really helps. I promise.
I did do that a few times, and I agree, it does help. And a lot of those big stages can be extremely intimidating, and so can the really small ones. I like the ones that are right in between. What are some ways specifically on LinkedIn that we can find the kind of stages that we would feel comfortable with?
So a lot of finding these kinds of events, it's going to be part of who's in your network, right? So who are you connected to? And going into these audio events and connecting with those people that are inside of the audio events, because these people enjoy audio experiences. So I would encourage you, anytime you see anyone hosting an audio event, follow them, if you're into the topic, because the chances of them doing it again are probably there, and, they're going to invite you and you're going to go again. So I would recommend definitely connecting with people that you find interest in and going into their events and connecting with those people that are listening to them and getting on those stages. Yeah, definitely connections. And use the search bar. I want to bring up one important feature on LinkedIn that a lot of people skip over. Use the search. Okay? If you're looking for a particular type of group, 40-year-old dancers, I don't know, I'm just throwing something out there. Type that in and see what comes up. Because when you search, you can see events, you can see groups, pages, people. I mean, it's beautifully filtered.
That is a good point. I haven't really played around with the search option much. Speaking of search, I know that when people search my name, my LinkedIn is usually the first one to come up. And I think that that could be a good reason for people to check out LinkedIn. I didn't know if you knew much about how having a LinkedIn profile might help with SEO when people are searching for your art or your music or anything like that, or how we can kind of utilize that aspect of it.
I love that you're so good at observing, because a lot of people would have missed that. The fact that you searched your own name and that is what came up at the top on Google is huge. It's like right there, just from Soda explaining it. Everybody should just get on LinkedIn just for the fact that you can show up on page 1 for Google. Okay, so I know that Microsoft owns LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been around for so long, that I don't really know too much about SEO. I'm not an expert at that whatsoever, but LinkedIn, it works with Google, posts, not even necessarily your profile, but let's say you make a post and you're featuring your music or your art. You never know. What if you use hashtags in your LinkedIn post and someone is searching, maybe you included an artist that inspires you in one of your posts, right? And so someone Googling that person's name. What do we know? Like Soda, your LinkedIn profile or post could be popping up at the very top. So, I mean, it all makes sense. It's like all linked together. Yeah.
Linked together.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even.
Okay, that was a little cheesy, but okay.
It works.
It could be really overwhelming for a lot of us. Like, I was just talking with LinkedIn about a friend, like, oh, I'm thinking of, trying to focus more on LinkedIn. Do you have LinkedIn? And she said, no, there's too many social media platforms out there. It's really overwhelming. I don't want to add one more. What are some reasons maybe we should add that one more? And what sets LinkedIn apart from other platforms, especially with the aspect of social audio?
Well, LinkedIn is huge, and the longevity, it's been there for over 20 years. And I say that a lot because, if I'm going to be investing time into a platform, I'm really hoping that it's going to be around for a long time. And so when you can see a proven track record like that, the chances of LinkedIn being here for another 20 years is highly likely, right? Not always promised, but very highly likely. So I would say get on there. I don't know if I think it's in the top 5 social media platforms, LinkedIn. So again, right there, it should tell you there's so many opportunities on there for you. So many people that you could be reaching. They have over 1 billion members. Again, when I think about that, I think about reach, opportunities, visibility, all the things, just how strong the search engine is. If it's already connecting to Google like it did for you, Soda, I mean, you have no idea. Like, it could expand off of LinkedIn, getting onto Google, a lot of your material. We just never know. So I would definitely for sure say get on there for those reasons alone.
Specifically with social audio, I'm on a lot of different social audio platforms. And what is something in LinkedIn that kind of sets it aside from other social audio platforms?
Let me just say something about social audio. You don't have to choose one over the other. You determine how long, and this goes for social media in general, you determine how long you want to be on each platform for. Like, how much time do you want to allot to social audio marketing, right? So if you say, I'm going to do 1 hour a week for social audio, you can break that up. You can do 30 minutes on Clubhouse, 30 minutes on LinkedIn audio. You could do 30 minutes on X Spaces, 30 minutes on LinkedIn audio. So definitely just include it in the repertoire because of all of the people that are missing out on you, Soda, because they're not on Clubhouse or because they're not on X Spaces.
That's a good point. Because right now, like, my main one is Clubhouse, but I'm trying to expand, and I've found a lot of the same communities on Clubhouse. They're on other platforms, but it's slightly different. And then I'm able to meet more people who maybe are on those platforms and aren't on Clubhouse. But I've been kind of reluctant with LinkedIn in regard to community because, again, there's still that stigma of, oh, it's only for professionals, it's for getting jobs, it's for all this stuff.
Throw that out the window. Throw it out the window.
Yeah, I want to hear about community and how social audio can help with building community and long-lasting partnerships when it comes to LinkedIn social audio. And do you have any examples of that?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, you can create community anywhere. People are going to want to be a part of what you have to offer because of you and who you are and your specialty. And so LinkedIn is no different. The cool thing about LinkedIn is that it's not just social audio. Like, you can create a variety of things on the platform, like all in one, right? You could do video, you could do the audio, you could just create posts, you can do short form video. I mean, there's so many opportunities on LinkedIn. So not just the audio part, to continue creating your community. Because sometimes when we go to these social audio platforms that are strictly audio only, it's like we talk in a room or talk in an audio event, and that's it. That's where it ends, right? As to with LinkedIn, you can continue the conversation. You yourself could start your own group if you wanted to, like as an extension of your audio events, if you want to keep the conversation going, just in case someone couldn't get on stage or they missed it. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to create community. And honestly, one of the biggest key factors here is just being consistent. And whatever that looks like for you. But just letting your people know, this is when I'm going to be showing up to talk about this. I would love for you to be a part of it, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, once a month. Yeah, and you can bring people over from Clubhouse too, Soda. There's a lot of people I see from Clubhouse, because I'm still on Clubhouse. I still love Clubhouse. I still teach about Clubhouse. And I see a lot of people on LinkedIn as well from there. So,
and for anyone who doesn't know what Clubhouse is an app that is strictly audio. There's very, very little text, like messaging involved that isn't audio. It's very, very focused on audio. So it's a little bit restrictive in that. I love it, but it is restrictive. What are your favorite features of LinkedIn besides the social audio? Because I know you mentioned there's a few others.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I love the content that I've been seeing. Again, I never thought I would be on the LinkedIn boat. if you asked me early last year, I would have been like, I'm not going on LinkedIn, right? I was very, like, a lot of people are very skeptical. Like, you're like, why would I want to spend time on there, But being on there, I think that's first and foremost. Just get on there and experience it for yourself as a user. I mean, once you start following and connecting with people that you actually want to hear from, like the content that you actually want to see in your feed, it's a nice experience, because now I enjoy being in there and looking at my feed and seeing the content that I'm seeing and commenting. That's a huge feature that I love using, because that allows me to share my voice that's not audio based, right? I'm just typing. I also love to create posts. And I'll tell you something. I know a lot of our time is restricted. We have so many plates that we're trying to juggle, right? And I know LinkedIn is just another platform to be on, and it's exhausting for a lot of people, myself included. So we have to do our part and think about, well, what can I bring over to LinkedIn that I already have done? That could easily be a simple copy and paste, because a lot of us have content elsewhere that we could literally just be throwing on to LinkedIn. You know what I mean? And save a ton of time. So posts, and then LinkedIn Lives. I do enjoy being on video, and I like video creation. So I do enjoy the LinkedIn Lives. Yeah.
That's a good point, because I know I've been kind of nervous to use my content from other platforms on LinkedIn, because again, I'm like, oh no, it has a totally different vibe and maybe my content wouldn't work there. Is there any sort of difference? Should you change things up at all on LinkedIn that you might do on other platforms?
Well, I'll tell you some of the key components that I've noticed anyways, because I observe a lot too. I think that's one of the best ways to really learn what's happening here, is by paying attention to what people are doing and looking at other people and seeing, like, are they getting engagement for doing something like that? Could I do something like that possibly? So when I'm creating a post, I almost always have a graphic attached to it. Not saying that your post won't perform well if you don't, but I've noticed that, and then I applied it to my own testing, and I noticed that my impressions, my reach was a lot higher if I added a graphic to it. Hashtags. I put hashtags every single time I make a post. I always have hashtags. And the other one would be when you go onto LinkedIn, you'll see when you're looking at posts, it doesn't just show you the whole post, like the whole caption, right? You have to press read more in order to see the whole entire post. So you want to capture them in that like first sentence, right? Let that sentence be like your hook. Get them in. We always talk about hooks, even for short form video. Same thing when you're writing a post. Maybe the hook is a question or something like, oh my gosh, you will never believe what happened to me on LinkedIn yesterday. That's like creating curiosity. Okay, what happened to you on LinkedIn? So I click to read more. So just some things that you pick up, yeah, that will help.
Okay. So you have the posts, you have the groups, you have the lives, you have the social audio. Do you have a specific experience with any of these on LinkedIn where you created something, you said something, you posted something, and you feel like you made a huge impact, whether it's in your community or helped you realize that you want to change directions with anything at all, where it just like LinkedIn is important? Or was it more just a general lots of these kind of things together?
Yeah, I think just being on there and teaching about social audio, because there's not a lot of us out there that talk about it, and I just know being on there, I am helping people find their voice and saying, okay, maybe audio is an option for me, right? So by showing up and hosting my audio events, regardless of the metrics, right? Because I think a lot of people stop hosting audio events because, 2 people came in. So they're like, they view that as a fail and they give up. It's like, no, I had to work too from the ground up. My very first few events on LinkedIn Audio, I didn't get a whole bunch of attendance, but you keep pushing through, right? And you keep spreading the word. And that, what I teach is helping people because I'm teaching them how to use this feature on this platform. I will say one post, now talking posts, one post I made, I was able to gain over 100 followers from it. Crazy soda. I call that viral. It wasn't really viral. It didn't go viral, but that was viral for me. And the reason why this made an impact was a lot of people, when they hear me speak on social audio, they just hear confidence. They're like, you know what I mean? Like they just hear Mimi doesn't get scared. Mimi, she's the pro speaker. In that post, I opened up. I was very transparent and vulnerable. And I opened up about how nervous I was to get on this one person's stage. Like I was just and you should have seen the comments. You can actually go see the comments, Soda. People were like really shocked that I get nervous still. So I think that made a lot of impact. That's what you can do. Just like any of the other platforms, you can be on there and you can be vulnerable and share, and you're going to impact people. Don't keep it to yourself.
You kind of just made something click with me. I'm going to be honest about the people on LinkedIn, because I think there's again, we have that stigma of the LinkedIn people, but I think a lot of people are like you, where they are also kind of like, okay, do I actually belong here? Am I, in the right place? What are some of the best ways to find the right people that, are, because I know there's a lot of really kind of salesy type, like,
oh, yes.
From what the little bit I've seen, I have seen a little bit of that. And so it's been kind of making me nervous that, maybe everyone is like that. But how do you find the right people?
Well, only time will tell if they're the right people. So, right. And I'm just going to be honest with you. People, yes, there are a lot of people on there that will sell, just like any platform. It's like sometimes you just can't avoid them, right? Because they're so good at what they do that they get you in. But finding people, I think it comes with being on there and just the process, right? Like I find people in the comments section. So if there's a post that I'm really enjoying, I look at the comments section, and I know I'm not the only one because I've gotten followers from the comment section. So I'm in the comment section and I'm looking and I'm like, well, first I also look, is this person part of like my target audience? Because, I have different strategies. So I'm like, okay, because my target audience, a lot of them are coaches, or entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. So I'm kind of looking for that when I'm trying to make connections. And so, yeah, I'll be in the comment section looking. Again, I use the heck out of the search bar. I'm always searching different hashtags, what kind of things are coming up. I also find people through people that I know. right? So you can look at people's following. It's not hidden. I don't think you can hide that. So you can find people that way as well. You can find people in groups. So when you join groups, you might be able to connect with people that way as well. And they obviously have the same interests since you guys are part of the same group. You'd be surprised, Soda. There's a lot of artists on there, girl. There's a lot of people that are your personality that you will mesh really well together. And a lot of collaborations are waiting for you. Just saying.
Okay, you're getting me a little bit excited. And also, like, kind of a reminder that just because you're an artist doesn't mean you are only networking with artists, though. Like, most of my clients are, authors or coaches or, someone who wants me to do something for their whatever, like a logo or something like that. So it's important to kind of get out of only your bubble too. And I know
Yes.
I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that before I ask about your specific course thing that you have.
No, honestly, yeah. I mean, do all of it, have, your area of things that you want to consume, but then also have a game plan because you're there for a goal, for a reason. So yeah, follow a variety. That was all.
Awesome. I agree with that. And that's something that I've been working on this last year, because before I was like only with my artists or only with my writers or whatever. But I've noticed connecting more with people like you, with coaches, with anyone else who helps people like me be more confident. That's been extremely, extremely helpful. And so you mentioned earlier you have a course where you help people with social audio. Can you talk a little bit about that? What made you decide to do that? And what kind of stuff do you teach?
I love that. So I teach the tech portion of social audio, depending on what platform you're on. I teach how to moderate, so how to host the actual event. Because here's the thing. Sure, you can show up and just talk. That's fine. But are you going to get a return on your time? What is the goal here, right? Because I'm telling you, when you start talking, you don't realize that an hour just passed. Like, time flies, especially when you're on social audio. So we want to make sure that you're at least getting a return on your time there, right, before you feel burnt out and you feel like nothing is working because you don't have a goal in place. So I teach about hosting and how to leverage what you have to work with to hit your goal. This particular training that I currently have, Soda, is specifically for LinkedIn audio. So it's basically how LinkedIn audio operates, because it's important to familiarize yourself with the platform of social audio that you choose to be on, because LinkedIn audio is not Clubhouse. LinkedIn audio is not X Spaces. So with this training, I cover the tech portion of it, which is like scheduling it. How do you open it? I cover visibility and discoverability. So how do you get people into a LinkedIn audio event, right? Because we need an audience for it to work out. Even if it's just one person, we need somebody to listen. We cover your host controls. So when you're on stage, you do get controls like buttons to help create a seamless experience. So if you have anyone come on your stage and disrupt the stage, you can handle that because you have a host control for it. And we cover different features that you can utilize as a host for your business. So I want to say one more thing, Soda. Oh, by the way, I do also have a podcast. If you don't mind, can I shout out Coffee Social?
Well, I was actually going to ask you to, because it is one of my favorite podcasts. It's so good. So yes, please, let's talk about that.
Thank you. That actually means so much to me. And I know Jonathan will be really excited.
Oh no, we were in a Clubhouse room last night, in my podcast Clubhouse room, and me and one other person said that one of our favorite podcasts was Coffee Social. So, and he was there for that. So you could ask him. He was very appreciative.
Oh my, wait, were replays on? I need to listen to that.
Yes. Okay. And I was helping moderate that room. So you'll hear me awkwardly moderate.
Oh my gosh, stop.
So I will send you that replay.
Okay, thank you. And you have to give yourself more credit. Just real quick, Soda. Like, this is just, just to keep in mind, like, you are actually doing it. There are so many people that think about doing it, and they think about it for months and years, and you are actually taking action on all of your dreams. So kudos to you. All right, girl. Okay, Coffee Social. It is a podcast all about social media and business. We cover social audio. We cover Instagram. We cover mindset, because a lot of this starts with the mind. Okay. The battlefield is in the mind a lot of the time. So we cover a lot of that. Our audience are typically solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. We want to create a feeling that we're like your business buddies with you hanging out, and we're just, talking about entrepreneurship, because it can be a lonely road. And so we're hoping that the podcast makes you feel like you have somebody with you by your side through it. So yeah, thank you, Soda.
Yeah, and because the thing is that if people like the kind of stuff that's on this podcast, the Success Palette, they'd probably like yours as well, because we talk a lot about similar things, except you talk about them from more of having experience, where I'm more interviewing people with experience. And I love the chemistry between you and Jonathan and the banter. Like, you're so cute together. I like that you found each other. So
and you know how we found each other. This is great for your listeners right now who are listening in.
Let's hear the
We found
story.
each
I
other
want to
on
hear
Clubhouse. On Clubhouse, on social audio. That is how this collaboration came to be. So that's another big piece of the power of social audio, is you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know how they're going to change your life. So, yeah, that's where it started.
Awesome. And the episode I'm having right before yours is with Jonathan. So that's funny that they're going to go
good.
hand in hand. His is about storytelling, so it leads into this. So let's talk about connection. So we got the connection with Jonathan. What are some other really awesome connections that you have made that has helped change the direction of your career, what you're going to do, or made any sort of huge impact?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, just being on social audio in general, without anyone, for example, for this point, I never thought I would love audio. I was always a video creator. I never saw myself in the audio space. Just by being on social audio and really falling in love with audio creation, now I have a podcast. So like all these things are linked. Now when I say that, I'm going to think of you, linked together. But as far as connections, okay, so I have met some of my best friends on social audio, and I'm not going to tear up, but it's true. It's like and I know there's an article out there, there's science behind the power of the voice and how it can create so much intimacy with another person. And that's all we have to go off of with social audio, is just our voice. So you really, really build that like, know, and trust factor pretty quickly when you're seeing each other all the time in these audio events. So my best friends, I've been invited to speak at summits, virtual summits. So I've gotten speaking opportunities. I mean, there's so much that has come out just from the connections I've built. I've gotten sponsorship. I mean, it's wild. So I hope we're pushing people, Soda, to give social audio a try.
I agree. I mean, so again, I joined because somebody in my writing group on Facebook invited me back when it was invite only for Clubhouse. And I found a writing accountability group, a couple of them, and they are literally some of my best friends. We've had 2 meetups that, we all flew across the country to go to these meetups, rented a mansion, and just hung out together for a week and wrote. Like, both times
it sounds like a dream.
Amazing. And yeah, they're my best friends. Like, they helped me get through the pandemic. They helped me get through the times where my husband was gone for months. Like, they helped me get through so much stuff. And it makes me sad that I very rarely see visual artists on there. Like, I have a great writing community there on multiple different social audio platforms, but artists, I have a couple on Discord social audio, but it's so hard for me to get any of them to join. Do you have any tips specifically for artists who are very anti-social audio? How can that help us? Or do you have any tips on getting them over?
Oh, I think giving them examples. Let me show you how many artists are on this platform. Because we kind of have to open their minds to it. They think audio and they assume I'm a visual person. There's just, why would I be on there? Show them all the visual people that are on there. Like, I would get a list together, Soda, and say, hey, there is over 100 artists on this platform doing social audio, and they're doing this. And I know it's scary. Again, it's scary to talk, but once you kind of get going, and you can start in a very small group. It doesn't have to be a large audio event, right? We talked about that. The attendance, it fluctuates. It could literally be you and 2 other people, and you guys just have a conversation about something. And also, it could be something to help you. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but it doesn't have to be you trying to sell something. You could just be using it to figure out how to solve a problem, so. But I think showing them examples that there are artists on here might intrigue them to come on over and check it out for themselves.
Examples. Yeah. Here's an example. Okay, not about artists on there, but maybe that we need artists on there. I don't promote my art a lot on social media. I have my profile picture of my art or whatever, but I have had 3 people from Clubhouse in the last week reach out to me about doing commissioned art projects for them, whether it was a book cover, logo design, anything like that. Like, that's how I get my clients. Again, I don't promote it. I don't promote it at all. I'll just...
Soda, are you telling them this?
I'm telling them.
Are you telling
I guess I probably should. I didn't even think about the fact that all of my clients are from, every single one of them. They're all from Clubhouse. And a lot of it comes because people will use, I do cartoons of my guests who come on my podcast. Most of my guests are from Clubhouse. And then a lot of them will have them as their profile picture. People go, oh, where did you get that? And then they go, oh, I got it from Soda. And then they reach out to me and they're like, wow, I want one of those. So.
Come on now.
I mean,
come on now.
Because there's so few of us artists are on there. And so they're like, all right, found an artist. And the power of recommendation, and especially when it's audio recommendation, I think is huge. So, and I know with LinkedIn.
Yeah, social proof.
Yeah, LinkedIn is all about social proof, right? Do you have any comments specifically about that?
Yeah, I mean, social audio, that's just how it is. LinkedIn audio, of course, the same thing happens over there. People come onto your stage and they can sell your thing better than you can, Soda. You know what I mean? Like, we could talk about our own stuff all day long, and maybe some of us are even too scared to talk about our own stuff. But you bring somebody on your stage that knows your stuff, that's purchased in the past, or just knows you as a person, they can talk you up all day and night. That's social proof, right? People are listening to that. They're like, wow, well, she's worked with Soda. I mean, and I trust her opinion. Let me go ahead and connect with Soda. That's exactly how it works. So same thing on LinkedIn audio. I love that you brought up that example because a lot of my customers, they come from LinkedIn audio. They come from Clubhouse as well. Like, I don't really do much outside promotion. A lot of what I do is directly on the platform in the audio events. So I love that you brought that up.
Okay, so it's not just me. All right. And somehow I totally didn't even connect that they're all from Clubhouse. So, all right. Well, I know that you gotta head out, but I was wondering, do you have any final thoughts for anyone who's skeptical about trying out LinkedIn or social audio in general? And also, where can people find you?
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, just get on there. You have to test it out for yourself and give yourself more than a week, please. Okay. Give yourself at least 90 days to really give it a fair shot before you say, this is not for me. That's my biggest recommendation, because I don't want you to leave an opportunity on the table if it really is there for you. So do that. You can always follow me on LinkedIn at Mimi Langley. I'm on there. Connect with me. Let me know that you listen to this episode and you're coming from Soda's podcast. Okay. I want to know. But yeah, just get on there. I will tell you one thing about LinkedIn. Before you host your LinkedIn audio event, I would recommend making sure you optimize your profile. Okay. So one piece of the profile, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but just something you could even Google it or go on YouTube and get a tutorial, how to optimize your headline, because that is like free advertisement. That's a free visual billboard that tells people what you're all about. Okay. So if you design logos for businesses, that should be in your headline. All right. Back to you, Soda.
We need to hear about all the other platforms that we can find you on.
Oh, okay.
And your podcast,
I only hang out on LinkedIn.
all that stuff. And they're going to be in the show notes, but I want to hear you talk about it.
Thank you. I'm only on LinkedIn, Soda. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, pretty much across all platforms, you can just search Mimi Langley. And I'm on Instagram. I'm on Clubhouse, LinkedIn. I'm also on YouTube, Mimi Langley. And then, of course, Coffee Social Podcast. We're pushing a lot of content. We have a Coffee Social Podcast YouTube channel. So if you don't want to listen to the podcast, you could watch us, which is always fun. We would love for you to subscribe to that. So have you watched us at all on video, Soda? Or are you a listener of podcasts usually?
I have watched you on Instagram Lives mostly. But
yeah, we do that. We do that.
I
from
follow
time to
you
time,
on
yeah.
YouTube. I think I watched one on YouTube, but usually I'm able to listen because I do podcasts. I do podcasts usually while I'm cleaning.
See, I walk when I'm listening to podcasts, so I'm with you.
That too.
I'm pretty much all over the place. MimiLangley.com is my website, so you can check that out to find more links.
Yay.
So thank you, Soda.
And again, those will all be in the show notes down below. So check out Mimi. She's pretty awesome. I like her. But anyway, thank you.
I like you.
Thanks again for coming in, and maybe we'll do another episode on some other sort of subject. So
I hope so.
Awesome. All right. Have a good one.
Bye.